All right, excited to have our guest on this week, President and General Manager of your Republic FC, Todd Dunivant. Welcome back, Todd. Good to see you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, she had to walk a full 70 feet.
Yep. Other side of the office, you know?
Yeah. It's like a vacation a little bit going on this side. All right, so want to talk the team as we head towards Saturday, the fan appreciation night, final game of the regular season, and then playoffs. Not a great result this past weekend. Kieran Phillips did have a nice goal, but you know, how important is this final game for the club to get some momentum heading into playoffs? We're still right at the top. I think we're right now third in the Western Conference. Still a lot to vie for there. So how important is this final game, not just for the rankings purposes, but for, you know, getting some confidence, getting some momentum?
Yeah, we want to finish as high as we can. So, you know, we're in the playoffs. We know that, but you want to finish as high as you can, secure the best positioning possible, and have, you know, confidence going into the playoffs. I think for us, this whole year has been building towards playoffs. It's been all about these, you know, really now we've got 5 games left, but, you know, the 4 games in playoffs to win a championship. That's what we are focused on. That's what we want to do. And that starts this weekend. I mean, really leading into that gives us the best opportunity possible, you know, and whether we win this Saturday or lose or tie, you know, isn't going to necessarily crown us champions or not. So we'll quickly have to, you know, kind of regroup, regather ourselves and refocus. But yeah, Saturday's a big game. Colorado Springs has been playing very, very well, climbed up the standings, and have, you know, started slowly this year, but have really turned it on and are now a very dangerous team.
What's crazy is all 8 teams who are in the playoffs already know they're in the playoffs. You have a team like Memphis, who's right now the 5th spot. They play New Mexico. So there's a lot of jockeying for position in this final week. So it's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching. I think that Memphis game kind of helps dictate some things for us in terms of home games. But, I mean, do you guys really even focus on that kind of stuff, or is it mostly just like, hey, let's worry about what we can worry about and not even paying attention to those other games?
Yeah, we don't, you know, we don't have to scoreboard watch in a way because we control our destiny.
Right.
We win on Saturday, we know we're hosting in the first round. If we don't, then, you know, we put ourselves in jeopardy. So the focus is not on what's happening next week. Right now, the focus is on Saturday and beating Colorado Springs. Our home form has been very, very good, which, you know, going into the playoffs is what you want. And, you know, we're going to have a huge crowd. It's going to be a great night. Always that last regular season game is a special one for us, and we're looking forward to closing out the regular season on a high note.
There's been some interesting stretches this year where you guys would get hot at home, and then there was a stretch you got a little cold at home. Then you start off the season, you guys were so good on the road. Then the last couple months, maybe not as good on the road. What do you attribute some of those kind of changes to? Is that just the ups and downs of a normal season?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've kind of flipped the script a little bit on those two things. You want to put it all together in the end, which is the plan. But we have a veteran team, a savvy team, who's been through this, so we know what to expect. And when push comes to shove, you know, we're going to be a team to reckon with, and I think that that's exciting. This is what we've been building towards. So I'm only getting more and more excited as we get to this part of the season. The weather changes a little bit. There's a little something different in the air, and this is the fun time of year.
Obviously, we've had some injuries kind of throughout the year. We've had Roro, Shane, Jack most recently. It's been kind of we've seen a lot of different changes into the lineups. It's been a challenging year on the injury front. How do you feel that the group is kind of figured out, put guys in different pieces? We've seen Nick Rouse jump around a little bit from the wing, a little bit to the midfield. We've seen Jared Timmer go to the right wing back. Ricketts has been out. It's like there's been a lot of chess playing in the 11 and the 18. But how do you feel overall that the team has been able to do with some of those missing pieces?
Yeah, that's a challenge you always have to be ready for. And we have a deep team. You know, we don't have a lot of bodies, but we have a lot of very good players. And so when you put a new piece in, it's not a drop off. In some cases, you get something different than what you had before in a good way. So, you know, that having those depth in the roster is really important. It's something that I think has helped us this year because we have faced some unusual number of injuries, but that's all part of it. Not going to be an excuse, and certainly won't matter come playoff time.
It does seem like guys are starting to get healthy. You know, we had Prano out, we had Cicerone out earlier in the year. Those guys have kind of gotten healthy back. Hopefully Jack is back as well. Does it feel like with those guys coming back, you guys are now getting back to full strength? And how do you manage this final regular season game, knowing, some guys may be on limits restrictions? Like, how do you guys manage also wanting to win to get that home game in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big game, so we're going to put our best team on the field, no doubt about that. And really get the form in the right place for playoffs. We know how this works, and it's whoever does the business when it counts, and that's kind of what this team was built for. So every opportunity is in our hands now. I think that's the other part is it's in our control. It's in our destiny to be able to do that, and it's something that we've worked really hard for.
All right, more with Todd Dunivant after the break. Todd, how does the staff feel about where the club is at heading into the playoffs in this first round?
Well, the great thing about playoffs is it's everything in front of you. Looking back does you no good. Whether you've won every single game or you've snuck in as the last place in the playoffs, it really doesn't matter. It's all about winning each game as they come. And so the focus for us is all about our next opponent. It's all about playoffs. It's all about surviving, advancing, and doing it when it counts. And that's where we're at. I think that's the exciting part, is that now you get to sort of everything that's happened before now, you sort of put aside because it's literally irrelevant. And now it's time to step up the intensity level. Everything is heightened in the playoffs, and our team historically has risen to that challenge. Whether it's Open Cup matches, whether it's playoffs, and so it's a great opportunity, and it's one that we've looked forward to for a long time.
And a lot of those players are guys who were on that 2022 Open Cup team. Obviously, there was an Open Cup run as well this year. Is there anything that is different about how Mark creates, and do you even need to create intensity going into the playoffs, or is that just something that as a professional athlete that's something you can just flip a switch on?
Yeah, it's there, right? Like, you feel it on those game days. Mark doesn't have to say anything to the players; they know, and you see it, you feel it, and everything's a little sharper, a little bit more fine tuned. And it's fun. I mean, this is the fun time. It really is, and it's when you kind of separate out pretenders and contenders, really. And so, you don't have to put more into it. It happens organically.
And obviously, you can basically put everything behind you from the season, whether it was you're on a hot stretch or a cold stretch. It doesn't really matter when you get into the playoffs. I wanted to ask, playoffs are different for a million different reasons, right? You have intensity, fans, everything's heightened. There's a magnifying glass on every play. Does it make a difference for you guys whether you're at home or on the road for different playoff matches throughout this run? Because likely you'll have to go play at home and potentially on the road too.
Yeah, they're different, right? You have different challenges in either scenario. Playing at home, you have the energy of your crowd. You have the feeling, a little bit of, hey, we're defending our turf and this is ours. When you're on the road, you have a little bit more of an underdog mentality. You come in to spoil the day a little bit, and but when it's playoffs, it's all about winning. It doesn't matter whether you're home or away. It's about finding a way to get a result. No excuses, referees, weather, injuries, none of that matters. Toss it out the window, find a way to get it done, and that's what it's about.
Heading into last year's playoffs, you guys were the top seed. This year, a little bit different, not the top seed, but you had a target on your back last year. I would say probably still a target on your back just because of the club's historical success. Does that change the way you guys approach games versus being the underdog or being the favorite going into matches?
Not really. I think it helps us in a way. If we're a team that is getting everybody's best, that should raise our level, because now we're playing every game at a little bit of a notch above. And, come playoffs, well, that's every week for us. So that's a good thing. We relish that opportunity, and it really is something that I think helps us in the end. You
mentioned getting teams best. We've seen the Republic in many instances against the top teams in the West and the East play well. We beat New Mexico, number 1 seed in the West, 4-0 earlier in the season. Went on the road, really played Louisville and Charleston well, both on the road. Does that make you feel confident about either playing those teams at home or on the road, depending where you do? Does that give you confidence knowing, hey, we can play with anybody at home or away? It doesn't matter.
No doubt about it. I think that's one thing that our group has proven really to themselves this year. I think the rest of the league, knew what kind of quality we have, but our group knows now that we can go anywhere and get a result. We can beat anyone at any stage. So, there's no fear going into playoffs. I think it's all excitement. It's all front foot. And this team was built for this.
What is the buzz and the mentality like in the locker room heading into these playoff matches? Is it immediately starting at training on Monday for a Saturday match? Is it immediately knowing that, hey, it's playoff week? Does it change that much?
No, it doesn't change that much, but you do feel it, right? Like you come in and there's just a little bit more of concentration. There's a little higher level of attention to detail, all of those things. Things that you do anyways, but you also, everything's just ratcheted up a little bit so that when you step on that field, you're ready to go. You're ready to go, and I think our team's going to be ready when that whistle blows.
All right, we'll take a break. All right, welcome back. It is Fan Appreciation Week. Big home game coming up on Saturday. The final home game of the regular season. Historically, one of the best crowds of the year.
Yep.
Hopefully, obviously a good result on the pitch. But I imagine these are the type of games where you really feel the appreciation for the fans that show up day in and day out at Heart Health Park.
It's incredible. I mean, this game, historically, we've had the last game of the regular season for several years now, and they've been very memorable. Whether it was San Diego, whether it was Cam Iwasa's final game and scoring that goal. I mean, there's just been so many things that we've had some great memories on these days, and it is a night to appreciate the fans who come out to support us through thick and thin, good times and bad. And we have such an advantage with our fan base, with our passionate supporters. It's awesome, and this is a night where you can really see that and highlight it.
And it's the one right before playoffs. Obviously, that ramps it up, the intensity just a little bit more. It's been an interesting season with ups and downs, right? It feels like at times, nothing is going right. And then you look up at the standings and you realize, oh, yeah, this hot start we had early in the season really has helped us. We're still a top 4 team in the West. So sometimes do you get stuck in the magnifying glass of a 2-game stretch, and then when you open that and you widen that lens, you realize, oh, you know what? Maybe it's not the panic button. Or you maybe not that type of person where you can see it full scale no matter what.
Yeah, my job is to be able to kind of pan out
right.
and look at the bigger picture and to give some perspective, right? And not be so high and so low depending on the result of the week. I think that can be difficult because your emotions do go in different places. But at the end of the day, you look at the body of work we've done this year, and it's been a very good year. We've been very solid throughout the entire year, mostly in first and second throughout the entire year. Set club records with our road form, with our goalkeeper Danny Vitiello getting shutouts. Defensive record. There's been having the best goal differential in the league. There's so many things you can point to of. We've had a darn good year, and it's a funny year because, like you said, there's been highs and lows, but that's what happens in a soccer season, and so really all of it, put it together, you package it up, and you say, all right, put that aside now, and it's time to win a playoff game. So, our focus right now is on Colorado Springs, getting a result, positioning ourselves as best we can for the playoffs, and then it's a whole new season.
Does the continuity of the group playing these guys, most of these guys have played together for 3 years, couple entrances here and there into this group. But we've seen in certain scenarios when there are big games, this team shows up in a real way, from the New Mexico result to the couple games on the road we mentioned earlier. Is that kind of why you have continuity? That's why you do this, so when times maybe are tough, the team maybe not playing their best that they've played throughout this year, that they can figure it out, grind out a win, or really put on a show when it matters.
Yeah, when you have continuity, it makes up for a lot. And you have experiences as a group, good, bad, and everything in between. And our group's done that. So, again, you go back to the Open Cup, beating the San Jose Earthquakes in the fashion we did in a comeback. Nobody saw that coming. And we just willed it to happen, right? And then going toe-to-toe with Seattle Sounders first team for 90 minutes and taking them all the way to the edge. I mean, that is what our group is capable of, and what we're looking forward to, because this is the time to unleash that. And, really our group was built for this. Everything we've talked about this entire year, starting back in preseason, was geared towards crescendoing, to the playoffs, and that is where we are. So this is what we've been working for, and now it's time to put everything aside and get after it.
You forget how long of a season it is. Like you mentioned those Open Cup games, and they feel like they were a long time ago, and they're still within this season. It is a long season, obviously. I wanted to ask about. I had Luke and Katie on a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. They talked about the origin of staff workouts.
Yeah,
Luke credits you with that it was your idea. Is that true?
Yeah, it was. And, I will say, this is his first year coming on full time. So This was really our opportunity to be able to do it. And I think the idea was kind of twofold. It was really to be able to, have the staff come together and bond. I think that's been the biggest thing with it. But also secondarily, we're working out and we're doing a good thing. We're, being in shape. And we started, and I can just speak for myself, by, very low. Hadn't lifted a weight really since my LA Galaxy days. And I would run and do all these other things. Love to stay active, stay fit. It's a good stress reliever. It's a good way to, get a sweat on. But I was missing that strength piece. So that was the other part that I, thought would be fun for the staff to kind of do. And I think it's over exceeded our expectations, how fun it's been, how great it's been for camaraderie, banter. And it's been great.
We also talked about, like, it's got to be players come in right after you guys work out. It's got to be kind of a motivating thing. Like, damn, look at like this coaching staff, the first team staff, like they're in here. They mentioned that the workouts are on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
There's got to be a little bit of motivation to that, of like, all right, these guys are working hard too, and obviously you work hard, in the X's and O's and the things of that nature. But also before everybody gets there, it's got to be a little bit of a motivating factor too, as well.
Yes, but I also think it's an ego boost for the players because they see how bad we are. And they say, well, at least I'm not that. No, I think it's been awesome. Luke is an absolute machine. Katie, I think, has our attendance record for most attended. But it has been really fun, and it's branched out. Eder Quintanilla is now joining from the academy.
That's great.
He'll finish with our academy late night at, get home at 10:30, and then he's up, at 6 to do the workouts. Awesome. It's incredible.